Now, Blade Runner 2049 was a film I actually was gonna go see around October when it first came out. I was gonna go review, and I was actually gonna go even see it with my dad because I actually saw the original one with my mom and dad. My mom didn't want to go see it though because she found it very confusing as hell. You'll get to understand my experience with that too later. But my dad and I was gonna go watch it, and then unfortunately, right when we were gonna get to go see it, the theater where I usually go see a lot of my movies, the dog one that I mentioned here and then, they just literally pulled it out. Literally a week later, it was gone. I was really upset, man. But, you know, I guess it explains a lot of why it bombed at the box office. Well, at least domestically. Worldwide, it did pretty good, guys. We shouldn't just consider the US box office to be the only place where we make money. Okay, in all seriousness though, if I want to talk about the sequel, I guess I should mention at least a little of the original because I am going to eventually review this film. As you all can see, I do own the original Blade Runner, specifically on the director's cut, which was a very bad timing when the film was released because it also came out with some of the biggest sci-fi films of all time, specifically films like E.T. that clearly wasn't a great timing because Blade Runner, the whole series itself now being 2 films in it, both of these films, 2049 and the first one can be mentioned, are very different films of what you're used to seeing, or even I'm used to seeing. They're more focused, it's really hard to even explain, they're more focused on the ideas and themes that these films explore than the characters and the story, if that makes sense. I really hope that does. And because of that idea, the film technically bombed back in 2018, back in 1982, and did not make much money. It actually really was a ginormous bomb. I think the film actually cost like, what, 30 million to make, if I'm correct. That might be wrong of a number, but it only made about like $20 million, so yeah, it wasn't that big of a success. But eventually, as you all now know, if you're fans of films or of the series, it eventually became a cult following. And I finally got to watch it this year, and just like most people their experience had, I was really fucking confused watching. Like, wow, this was a very weird film, but I appreciate it for that. And I, of course, now that I literally saw it this week, I finally got to see the sequel, 2049. Unfortunately, that also, as you all know, didn't really do that well in the US. Like, it really sucks, man. It really sucks. Everybody who makes these Blade Runner stuff really tries to make a very enjoyable story for everyone, and no one gives it a chance. Come on, guys. Seriously, like, I remember reading Happy Death Day made more money than Blade Runner 2049 here. Guys, get out of your comfort zone. Watch more stuff like this. But yeah, I finally saw the sequel, and it honestly was a very big surprise of the amount of, honestly, to start with all the celebrities that I'm a big fan of, all the actors that were in it that I didn't expect to be in it at all. Like, of course, Ryan Gosling was in it, Jared Leto, which I was honestly really happy that I actually loved him in this film now, and freaking Dave Bautista, Drax the Destroyers in Blade Runner 2049. I did not expect that. Oh yeah, and the guy who plays Morgan in The Walking Dead. Seriously, like, God, these films are now trying to mindfuck me in all kinds of other ways. This whole series is literally almost like 2001 A Space Odyssey. I don't know if you've never seen that film, but it'll probably be easier to explain if you've seen that movie. It's a very complicated film to understand, very strange themes that pretty much explores stuff about life and, you know, the future and life and death, all this crazy stuff that you personally have to pay very close attention to every little detail, because any little even like frame of the film can, you know, have so much meaning to it that helps a lot to the story. And if you don't pay attention that way, you're not going to understand what's going on. That's all how the Blade Runner 2049 is. Very interesting film that even, honest to God, even my own mother, who would really enjoy the first one, even fell asleep watching late at night because, you know, we weren't paying attention that much. We're very tired. She fell asleep. I was like, wow, like, what happened? You know, the last half of the movie? And it gets at that hand of explaining it to her. And even I honestly didn't understand fully what the movie was about the first time I watched it. I ended up having to watch a lot of cool YouTube videos explaining it. One big shout out to a channel that actually helped me understand it more is Wisecrack, an amazing channel. I love watching them all the time. They've become one of my favorite channels I discovered last year. They explain very well in their hidden meaning in Blade Runner 2049, I think it's called, where the philosophy of Blade Runner 2049 helps explain very well what the film is about. That could probably help you understand it more, because I'm not here to do that, because that would be an hour-long video just trying to explain the basic stuff of this movie. I know I make it look like it's a bad thing to how interesting and complicated that they get, but that's what's so amazing about them. You know, we're not going to get films every day like that. I love all the Marvel and the DC, not that much, all the comic book and big franchise and space adventure and action movies that we can get nowadays that are honestly very well, and even other stuff, you know, just simple stories that are done very well that I can always have a great time watching, and it becomes some of my favorite films. Y'all know what I think about stuff like Star Wars and the MCU. I clearly love that stuff. It's some of my favorite things to always talk about. But it's always good here and then to even, you know, get out of my comfort zone and try to watch it and understand stuff like these films that make it such an interesting time to, you know, try to talk to you guys about. And it's just so much fun, and I honestly think should get way more attention than, unfortunately, as you all know, especially here in the US, we clearly don't appreciate. I really feel like more people should, you know, have some fun time and just get out of the comfort zone and, you know, learn about new interesting things that you probably will never even watch or think about. It's really crazy. That's what I love about this film. I'm not even going into, you know, everything else, that why Blade Runner is even loved and why it could be enjoyable and respected to many people. I respect a lot what this movie does, especially for many things that even made Blade Runner 2049, in my opinion, more enjoyable than the original. And that's the simple things that, as you all know, I hopefully have nailed down in your guys' skulls so much about what makes films so important in many details. Music, cinematography, and honestly, yeah, pretty much that. Music and cinematography. Those are core things that make this film even 10 times more of an almost orgasmic experience to watch. I know that's a very, you know, mature word to use, you know, very adult, but honestly, that's the best way to explain it. Because even from the opening itself, not to say that Blade Runner, the first one, is not a beautiful film, it clearly is. That's why we still talk about it nowadays. Is honestly a big part of it. But just like how Star Wars used a lot of the cinematography effects, I forgot to mention that, effects and music to help its own franchise, Blade Runner uses that and more too with those little things. Oh my god, there's some moments that literally was just the music and just staring into the abyss, just make you just, my jaw dropped in moments of the movie that was like, holy shit, what am I watching? This is beautiful. How did this film bomb? It's so, or at least here, it's so sad. And it's stuff like that that makes this film amazing. Like even the fight scenes that to end the review, Blade Runner 2049 is an amazing film for it being a very complicated and confusing film that I even have troubles in explaining, and that's why I respect it. Because even despite being very complicated and very strange to try and understand, even if you try to watch it by yourself, which I really want to recommend, try to read something and understand it, it still is appreciated a lot. It's how, like, to make it simple, you guys remember the whole Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared craze that I even did a video on, that was a terrible video, but I did on try and explain it. It's something like that, what makes it fun. It's very weird, very strange, but it's enjoyable because it's very weird and very strange. And quick update, I was about to finish editing the Blade Runner 2049 review, and then I found this amazing short film that they did to promote the sequel, like a month before that film actually came out. It's called Blade Runner Blackout 2022. It's supposed to happen like 3 years or 2 years right after the original Blade Runner, and like 30 years or like 20 before the sequel. So it's supposed to explain what happened between those years, and it's freaking amazing. So if y'all want to have an amazing time watching a cool little short film on the internet and learn more about the Blade Runner universe, this is an amazing fun to watch. Just watch it. It will just help explain more. So to give the final score that I never thought I would be giving for a film of last year, but it earned it, a 10 out of 10. Very complex, crazy, but amazing, beautiful film at the same time, and I respect it for that. And it earns its 10 out of 10. That's pretty much Blade Runner 2049, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this review. It's obviously a very crazy one to mention. I'm very happy I'm going to have new reviews in the future of me starting into some more classic films that I even managed to see literally today. It's going to be a lot of fun when I start mentioning those. I can't wait to do more retro reviews. And also I'm going to be talking about other films that came out last year that hopefully get nominated or I believe deserve some attention at the Academies. We'll get into that anyway. Hope you all enjoyed the video and have a great day or night wherever you're watching this. See you guys.